In this video, we are joined by the one and only Mr. Theme Park Casual. We are talking about Universal Studios Hollywood. This gentleman was there for the first time very, very recently. We're going to talk about his experience over there. We're also going to talk about, if you're a fan of OG55, you are very much a fan of Theme Park Casual as well. He's been a regular here on the channel, whether in the chat or physically like he is now, and he's been doing this this theme park vlog thing for a little while now, so we're going to kind of pick his brain on his experience with that whole endeavor that he's been embarked on now for a little while. So we'll talk about that. So up next on this episode of OG55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. We have a stacked show for you today. But before we dive into our festivities, I'm going to introduce my fantastic panel. Right over here, we got the one and only George, the Italiano, host of our Walt Disney World show here on the channel. George, welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me. So glad to be back on and talking some shop with you guys. It's always a good time.
Absolutely. If you let everybody at home know where they could find you on social media, and not your OnlyFans, brother. Yes. Not your OnlyFans.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Next time.
All right. Fair enough. But other than my OnlyFans, you could also find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There it is. And down below, the one, the only Mr. Theme Park Casual is joining us today. Casual, it is always a pleasure having you on, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks for having me again. Glad to be here. Can't wait to see where the conversation takes us.
Perfect. If you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media.
You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, all of those at Theme Park Casual.
Yes, absolutely. And I will be linking Casual's socials in the description down below. If you are a Disneyland fan, if you're a Knott's fan, you have to check out his channel. He does amazing live streams from both of those parks. And he even did a live stream from Universal actually a few weeks ago, which we will be talking about. So let's dive right into that, actually. So this is the first time, kind of technically your first time at Universal. It's been a long time since you've been, very, very long time.
Very long
time. So this is basically your first kind of dip into this whole park. Overall first impressions, like what were you feeling after going?
Overall, after the fact. So this is, went the whole day. At the end of the day, I was very impressed with Universal. I especially the newest areas with Harry Potter and Super Nintendo World. Those were off the charts amazing. I could not believe how impressed I was with those. And then some of the attractions, the animatronics were just mind-blowing, really, like Jurassic World. At first, I love that scene with the, giant Leviathan or whatever it is, and starts cracking the glass, just setting the tone. I was like, that's fantastic. But then on the lift, you've got the dinosaurs roaring right above you. It feels very, very, very much a different feeling than the Disney animatronics. They were much more menacing and very much
aggressive.
In your face. Yeah, exactly. And then just being in Harry Potter, the Wizarding World, I'm not a fan. I've seen the first movie once, never read any of the books, but I was just enthralled just walking around in there. And then the queue for the Forbidden Journey, holy mackerel. I mean, there was zero wait time. We literally walked through the entire thing. So we were like blazing through it. But oh my God. I mean, it rivals, the best of Disney queue.
Absolutely.
And I would say at times it actually, blew me away more than some of the Disney queues.
Well, it's interesting too because I'm claustrophobic. I'd make no secret about it, but like I don't really go on that ride because the vehicles are very claustrophobic for me. But what I will do though is if I'm with a group, I'll do what they call the castle tour. So you walk through the queue and then you take the chicken door at the very end, right?
Right.
I gotta say, I mean, like it's so beautiful though. I'm kind of satisfied. Like just walking through this thing, it's so immersive. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous with the paintings
and the paintings. I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, that is fantastic. The texture that they had on the moving paintings. I was just like, holy mackerel, that is just gorgeous. I seriously, I really wish I could have taken the time and just like stood in each of the little sections and really watched what was going on. But like I said, there was absolutely nobody in line. We walked right onto the vehicle.
And I wanted to ask
we
you that.
Like,
I wanted to ask you that, Casual. Was it just the time of day, or how were the crowds overall in the park? Because from what I've heard, the last couple times that people were gone, they said it was crazy busy out there. So what did the crowds look like for you?
At times it was very busy. I mean, obviously Super Nintendo World was jammed from the get-go. I went with a group. It was a work outing. So there was, I think, 13 or 14 of us. So you guys know how it is dealing with those kind of groups in a theme park. You kind of move a little bit slower than you normally would. Mario Kart, I think we ended up doing single rider, the entire group, we all went single rider. So I didn't even get to go through all of that queue. I got to see part of it.
Wow.
A little disappointed about that. But we didn't want to wait another, 90 minutes for Mario Kart. But Super Nintendo World packed. Everywhere else was not bad. Up until I think like around 4:30, at that last hour or so, it seemed like suddenly everything had a line because it's like I wanted to go on Secret Life of Pets and it was like a 60-minute wait. The line was like switchbacks outside the building and it was just like, oh, for crying out loud. So I didn't even get to see that one. I'm really bummed about that. I really wanted to see that dark ride, but the group wanted to go do Minions instead.
Oh no, that's a bad call. That's a bad call. No.
I was like, seriously?
I mean, yeah, but at least you have something now to look forward to because actually, Secret Life of Pets is actually really brilliant in a lot of ways. It's actually another great queue at Universal because they don't, without like spoiling it or whatever, but like they don't really use like traditional like switchbacks. You kind of go through the apartment.
Yeah, I've seen all the footage. Yeah, I've seen footage of it, and that's why I was like so just. And we're standing in line for Minions for probably like almost half an hour. And that's the killer. It's like knowing what the Pets queue is like, and we're standing in the Minions queue, which is just bare bones blue switchbacks. And I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, that Minions ride is so DCA 1.0. The queue and all of it. You know what I'm saying?
God, yeah. Oh yeah. That's exactly the perfect way to put it.
Now, George, you're kind of new to this whole Universal thing too, right? Like you've only gone once, or maybe was it twice?
Universal Hollywood, I've gone once.
And what were your thoughts? Was it more similar to Casuals in terms of like what was impressive and what wasn't? Or
yeah, I think it's very creative of how they had to actually design the park itself, because you have to basically go on these oversized escalators to the different platforms, which at first I thought it was like really cool, like this is awesome, and then by midday I'm like, okay, this is getting old.
Okay.
But overall it was really good. I did enjoy Jurassic World way better than Florida's. Florida's definitely needs an update because Florida's is just the basic Jurassic Park. Jurassic World, I love how the correct me, you had mentioned it, Casual, I think it's the mosasaur. I think that's what it's called. The Leviathan in the
Okay.
water.
Yeah.
I love how he cracks the glass and you get sprayed
Yeah.
with water and
Mhm.
everything. And then you have these two dinos like at the end, like right before you do the final drop. They're literally
Oh, yeah.
ready to like rip each other's faces off, and it's like you're
Yeah.
like right in between them. It's like
Oh man,
that is like phenomenal. Secret
That's
Life of Pets.
that's like you on a Friday night ripping. Face. I'm just kidding, George. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, bro. I'm just kidding.
Oh god, I'm not gonna not see that now every time I go on that.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't call those ladies dinosaurs, though.
That's true. That's true. That's true. that first scene, though, you're right, you guys, with that water, the water dino. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the name either, but like that was a brilliant use of screens. Like you know, like I always say, like these technologies, they're not necessarily bad and they're not necessarily good. Like when people say, like, well, I don't want any screens. Well, you know, hold off. You know, I mean, screens have a place. I think that those screens, the way they did it to make them look like an aquarium was absolutely brilliant. And then it kind of hits the glass and it cracks a little bit and the water comes over the side. Yeah. I'm like, this is awesome, dude. This is really, really cool.
Definitely a good use of screens.
Yeah.
But Secret Life of Pets, phenomenal, awesome cue. The ride itself, like it reminded me of like a classic, you know, feel good dark ride, you know, and the audio animatronics were done really well too.
Yeah.
The only thing that's it's notorious for Secret Life of Pets is the Universal team members. It's like an omni mover ride. You're not going anywhere, and man, do they push that bar like all the way down. You know, like how low can you go, like the limbo. That's what they do with those bars. It's like you do realize like what's down there. It's like you got to be careful. You're going to split me into two. It's but overall, great ride. Yeah, and I'm for sure Casual will elaborate on it more, but I'll just say my piece on it is the centerpiece of that whole entire park is the tram tour. Like without a shadow of a doubt, like that is like the crown jewel of Universal Hollywood.
What did you think about that, Casual? The tram tour overall?
Yeah, it was good. They need to just get rid of the Fast and Furious, though. I was like, it was like just a cringe fest the entire time. I was like, seriously, they should just ask, you know, do you guys want to watch it, or should we just like cruise right through and not even bother and just take a vote? Because it was just, I mean, it's not even like, I mean, it's like not even good schlock, you know. It was just like cringe. I feel bad for the actors, kind of thing. You know, it's like anybody who it was involved with this, it's like they're not putting this on their resume anytime soon. You know, it's like,
oh, you mean the one girl like, oh, I was Club Girl 42 in the Fast and Furious Supercars. It's like, okay,
it was. Yeah, and then I think we missed out on the flood scene is it Mexico?
Oh, yeah.
There's like supposed to be a little flood scene. We didn't get that. We just cruised by. I don't know why, but and then I was sitting on the wrong side for Jaws. So I missed a few of the things, you know, just out of, you know, chance or whatever. But it's fun. It's neat to see some of that stuff. I wish it was a little more, you know, that you could see, you know, hey, we've got this filming and you get to stop and, you know, kind of watch a set happening, you know, even if it's not during an actual filming scene, but seeing, you know, the director or whatever and everything going on and lighting being set up and things like that. I think that would be kind of cool if they could have, you know, almost ensure that that's happening at some point during each one of the tram tours, but I know that's difficult.
It's hard, but yeah, that would be really cool though. That would be really cool. Now, George, you went through the Back to the Future courthyard, right? If I'm not mistaken.
That was the second time I went because I did the tram twice. So the second time in the early evening, for which we took that detour. I don't know why they had it blocked off before. They might have been filming something. They might have been working on something. But the second time, yeah, I got to see the clock tower and everything. And I have to say that was a highlight out of the whole tram tour, that I got to see the actual set for Back to the Future.
Yeah,
like, that was just phenomenal.
Yeah, we didn't get that on mine. We were like, I think we were the second to the last tram of the day, so I don't know if that has something to do with it. but there was something, I think they were filming earlier in the day on the New York set, so they didn't take us down that way.
But yeah, I agree with you, Casual. I'm not a fan of the Fast and the Furious. I'm not even a fan of the King Kong
Really?
section. No, because we have done in Orlando the actual full length attractions of those.
Right.
With Supercharge and Skull Island, and it's like,
Well,
you kind of have to, no matter where you're sitting, you have to look on both sides. So you're basically like, it's almost like you're watching a tennis match or a ping pong
Right.
battle. It's like you're going like
Yeah.
this, and it's like, I don't want to see that. It's like I want to enjoy like the attraction for what it is. But I will have to say, Skull Island, the queue was phenomenal. I thought the queue was awesome. The ride just completely just obliterated everything.
it's interesting out here in Hollywood, where like for Fast and Furious, I think the thing that doesn't really work, at least for me personally, is that it's a chase through LA or whatever, right? But it's like you're in a giant tram. It's like just, it takes away from the believability factor. Like, there's no way this tram is going like 90 miles an hour on the
Yours is actually a little bit better. Down in Florida, they do a party bus.
Oh, it's a party bus?
Yeah.
Did you get a lap dance, George? No.
They had those hydraulics. They do it for you.
Oh man, yeah, no, that's the thing that's the thing that kind of ruins it for me is like, you know, and that's why I think it's really smart of Universal that they're going away from Supercharged and they're giving it its own coaster. That's the way it's supposed to go. Like, give us a real kind of racing experience, you know. And from what I'm hearing, this, I mean, for coaster enthusiasts, I think this is going to be a coaster that people are going to be really excited for, because it's supposed to be like a mix between like almost like Rock and Roller Coaster and like Cosmic Rewind. So nothing I'll go on, but the kids will love it.
And then I heard that it was supposed to reach up to the speeds of Velocicoaster, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh man!
Wow.
And how fast does that thing go?
That goes pretty
You know?
fast. Actually, as the ride goes on, it goes faster and faster. So I think, from what I understand, Velocicoaster, I think, is the fastest roller coaster in Universal Orlando.
Wow, dude. I've heard absolutely nothing but good things about that thing for coaster people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you just want a good, like, thrill, like off your seat kind of roller coaster, it's like that's the coaster to ride, because it's like for thrill junkies, that's their wet dream. You know, is just to ride the Velocicoaster.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, okay, so another land is Springfield.
Go ahead. Oh, sorry, really quick. To touch upon Casual's opinions on Wizarding World. I too love Wizarding World. However, I think in comparison to Florida's, now, 'cause I'm only saying this because I've been to both, I prefer Florida's because of the placement where it feels like you're completely cut off. Where it feels like they just kind of dropped Wizarding World into the spot, and it's like, okay, you walk in and there. But I mean, I still enjoyed it. I absolutely loved it. The drone show was phenomenal at night. If you haven't seen the drone show, with the projection mapping up on the castle and what have you, they brought out the Death Eaters and everything. It was awesome. Forbidden Journey, again, state of the art, kind of an attraction that very immersive than anything I think I've ever gone on in any theme park. For some reason, I actually think Universal Hollywood's version was a little bit more tamer than the one in Orlando. Yeah.
Aren't they identical? I thought they were identical.
They are identical, but I don't know if it's like something like within the Kuka arm itself.
Okay.
I felt it was a little bit more tamer.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah,
you know, like kind of like when you ride. You know, like when you ride a ride in the daytime, and then you go on it at night, and you're like, okay, this is way faster at night than it is at day.
Right.
That's kind of like the comparison.
That's interesting. That's wild. That land, though, I'm telling you, like I told you, I won't go on that ride just because of my claustrophobia. This is a weird thing that I have, but like the land is gorgeous. We went like last year, around this time last year, actually. I went with Wizard and stuff, and it was kind of raining. Not kind of. It was actually really raining.
Yeah.
But that land in the rain, though, is out of control good. I mean, it really feels like you're in that world, you know, like the cobblestone and the like little puddles and stuff. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
I have to ask you, Casual, when you were in there,
Yeah.
did you get a butterbeer?
Yes, I got the frozen. I did the frozen butterbeer, and
Nice.
I loved it. I was like, I want to go back and try the other versions of it. You know, the cold, you know, version, and then the hot butterbeer. That is a fantastic little treat, and it's amazing that they were able to pull something like that off.
Actually, every single time I get it, I have to get two. I can never just get one. I always buy two.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Well, it's
But
like
Forbidden
this.
Journey. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying the butterbeer is just kind of like this mix between like almost like a club soda and like this butterscotch, and it just hits like
Top with like a marshmallow cream on top. It's like
it's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Fantastic.
But
But I
ahead,
was going to say about the Forbidden Journey. You were saying about your claustrophobia. I think they need to put on the list of things, the warnings. They need to put arachnophobia on that.
Oh yeah.
If you're afraid of spiders, you are going to freak the hell out. Not to spoil anything, but you're going to freak the hell out if you have a severe aversion to spiders. I was almost getting uneasy about it myself, and I'm not even that big of a arachnophobe or anything. I don't like spiders, but I was like, holy mackerel! If there, I remember thinking that if somebody is deathly afraid of spiders, this ride would just send them over the edge.
Oh yeah,
because it is just intense, and I have not been that on edge on a theme park attraction, I think, ever. I was constantly thinking, what the heck are they going to throw at me next? There's going to be a jump scare. It's going to get me. Something's going to happen.
I agree with you. I actually agree with you because, as I said, I enjoy a good thrill, and I don't just mean like a fast roller coaster type thing, but I do love off the seat suspense kind of things. And yeah, it definitely threw off that vibe. It was like, first it was the dragon, then it was the spiders, and then the one that actually got me was the Dementors, because those fucking things like come like within 2 inches of you,
and you're like you could reach out and like you could like, oh my god, I got to push this guy away from me. You feel that close.
Yeah,
and here's the thing: I never saw any footage of this ride. I purposely said, you know what, this is gonna be a ride. I don't want to see anything about it. So I went into it completely cold.
Oh, brave man, man.
I had never seen anything. And so, it was an absolute blast to be able to experience it like that. And, to be like surprised by everything. It was like, when the Whomping Willow, I don't even know what it was. I was just like, why does this tree want to kill me?
Exactly.
Yeah. But I tell you, those Dementors, I was like, the Queens was about to come out of me because I was just going to start swinging, and I'm not even from Queens, so it's like...
I know, but you are Italian, so
yes.
No, that's great. No, that's fantastic. Now, Casual, did you ride the I don't even know the name of it. I'm so bad, but like the little roller coaster they have over there in Wizarding World?
The Flight of the Hippogriff.
We rode it. There was no line basically, so again, we were able to kind of get. It's like, I think we watched one of them take off, and then we were on the next one. So, but
now I haven't been on that. How's that one? Is it decent or?
It's a cute little coaster. It's probably like a step up from the Gadget coaster at Disneyland. Literally, it's really not a big deal.
Okay, interesting. Now,
nothing really to pop a boil at.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Now, what do you think about the like Springfield? Because that, like, we hear from like like theme park wizard and stuff, like that's on the chopping block. Like Universal's looking to get rid of that. Were you impressed with that land, or are you okay with them getting rid of it, or how do you feel about that one, Casual?
I didn't get to go on the Simpsons ride again. Just ran out of time. But Springfield, it was cute. And it was fun. I didn't get to explore it quite as much as I wanted to, but I'm an old school Simpsons fan, so it was kind of fun to see that. It was cute. It wasn't the big immersive land that you're hoping for, but it was a cute little thing.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah,
they got rid of it, I'd be kind of like, ah, dang it, I wish I could have explored it more. But I won't be heartbroken to see it go.
Yeah, yeah. Immersive wise, it's not that great. Aesthetically, it's not that great, but the food was really good. Like they got really good pizza. You get like a nice cold beer. So the food is pretty dope. But like, yeah, like aesthetically, it's pretty ugly, and it's not. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, that's how you say. Yeah, it's pretty ugly. It's like,
No, I mean it is.
no,
but,
I know what you mean. But yeah, I'm a diehard Simpsons fan. I always was.
Yeah.
But the land just doesn't do the show justice. You know, the show is like creme de la creme, like top, like primetime television. The land is just meh. And I mean that for both coasts, really. They're just kind of a little bit of an eyesore, along with that damn what the hell was it called? From the Despicable Me Minions.
The silly fun land.
Silly fun land.
Super silly fun. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing with Simpsons, right? And I'm actually going to kind of defend Universal here. Oh my god. No, but the thing with Simpsons is I kind of think it's kind of hard to pull that off in a theme park environment. Like I don't even know if Disney really could, because it's like it's one of those things where it's like on TV it works, right? Like Family Guy, Simpsons, they're great for what they are, but are they theme park experiences? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah, I remember you saying that a while back. That it's just the simplistic animation style when you simply pop that into real life, it seems flimsy and bare in most spots because it's just washes of color most of the time. You don't realize that when you're watching the show because they've got the little movement, so it distracts you from it. But yeah, when it's in real life, which would when you look at Toontown, they made it cartoony but real life cartoony. They gave it texture, they gave it shading, they gave it dimension that is blown out of proportion but still very tactile. And I think if maybe they were able to kind of do that sort of a blending, it might have worked a little bit better.
Great point.
Springfield reminds me of an outdoor version of the indoor play area at McDonald's. Have you ever seen like those traditional indoor McDonald's where they have like the like the shiny gloss statues of Ronald McDonald and Grimace and all that? That's what it reminds me of.
Kind of, yeah. And you can tell Springfield was pre-Comcast, because Comcast, when they got in charge, they stepped it up. But that was definitely a pre-Comcast kind of thing. Yeah, it's on its way out. And
when they put The Simpsons in the place of Back to the Future, is the same feeling in Florida. That is, it is the same feeling I got when they put Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in The Great Movie Ride.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Back to the Future is so good. Like, come on, you bring that back. You bring something back for that. Because now with the technology they have, with these KUKA arms and all this kind of crazy, stuff, projection mapping, you could do a lot with Back to the Future. And I think there's a market out there for it still. Absolutely.
I actually think there's probably a bigger market now. It's almost it's gotten a breath of fresh air. New life has been breathed into it in the last several years for some reason. It's like it's become an even bigger franchise than it used to be. So I think they should give it another shot.
Yeah, I always love too, like when you walk into Universal, you're doing like the bag check and all that. And that's the one thing I like about Universal too, is like they are not shy with the music. Like when you walk in, they let you know what I'm saying? It's loud. And they always bump the Back to the Future theme song. I always get that, and it's just like, oh man, this gives me goosebumps. And it's just like, it's loud. It's like right there. It's amazing. But now speaking of the entrance though, Casual, I was going to ask you, because actually they recently kind of did like a DCA kind of renovation of the entrance when you walk into the park. And it's kind of a Buena Vista Street kind of vibe, right? You walk in, it's kind of old Hollywood. I really like it. What were your feelings on that?
Yeah, I was going to say right now, what you were mentioning, I was like thinking back to walking in, and I was like, yeah, it has that nice, classic, sanitized Hollywood street feel, So I think that part, they're like I said, Universal is really coming into their own, and it's great for us theme park fans that there are companies out there that are pushing the limits and, really stepping up their game to compete with, the theming and, the immersive fun of Disney. And it's really good to see that. And again, that entrance was spectacular, walking in. I really did, it did have a Buena Vista, Hollywood Boulevard type of feel.
Yeah. Oh, and it improved tenfold from what was there before. I mean, if you would have been there before, I mean, it improved drastically. They did a really, really good job on it. And they got a great Starbucks, and like, it's great. It really is great. Now, so overall, casual, like, for Universal Hollywood, did it like it sounds like it exceeded your expectations, kind of like from going into it.
Yeah, I would say so, because I mean, I didn't know what to expect really. I'd seen footage, I'd seen live streams, I've researched different things about it, but when you're there, it's a different story, right? It's like, okay, it looks good on screen and things like that, but when you're there, things tend to not live up to the hype sometimes. This one, there were only a few things that I felt were like, oh yeah, that's a definitely a quote unquote universal item. I mean, like, Revenge of the Mummy, it was cool. The queue was okay. You could see they were trying really, really hard, and it was doing all right. And the ride, it has its moments. It starts off like a dark ride, and has some really cool stuff, but then it just kind of turns into just a coaster. Nothing too spectacular with that.
It's like kissing your third cousin twice removed.
Yeah. Wow.
If you say so.
Yeah. No, I'm not a big fan. And I'm not a big fan of that ride either. But I'm not a coaster person, so it's unfair for me to really,
Yeah, it was fine enough. It's like it's one of those. Not everything can be the knock it out of the park kind of thing. And it was a good coaster. I'm not knocking it. It's just as far as the other experiences that really put Universal over the top, like even Mario Kart. As much as I was frustrated that it's a game. Right. Because I wanted to watch, I wanted to look around. It's like if you've seen footage of it, the set pieces are actually very well done.
Oh, very.
There's a lot of physical stuff to look at that when you're playing it as the game, you're not able to quite pay attention to.
Yes, thank you. That's my biggest problem with that ride, and it frustrates me so badly because it's like I don't want to see this crappy AR in front of my face. I want to see like the actual pieces.
I was actually okay with the AR, but I really wish they would have a button on the car that you can say I want to play it as the game, or I want to do a ride. I just want to ride. So that you're not playing the game, but they do some stuff, like Rainbow Road. If you don't have the AR, that's going to be pathetic, because it's a slow moving dark ride. But with the AR, Rainbow Road was just like, oh my God, this is so fun.
Right.
If they could take that portion and just let me have it as a ride without having to worry about the game portion and too much stuff flying around at me, so I can just enjoy, being in that environment. I would prefer that. That to me is how you would bridge both sides of it. It's like you can play the game if you want, or you can say, you know what, I'm just going to do it as a dark ride with a little bit of AR added to it.
There was a point in time I took the goggles off. Like I took the hat off just so I could just enjoy the set pieces. Like I was just like, fuck Rainbow Bridge. Like I just want to see everything.
Sure.
Yeah, and by the end of it, I had basically just stopped playing the game because I just wanted to look around, and I was just enjoying the ride itself. And not to mention, I mean, I'm an old geezer, so I didn't quite understand, the whole, just keep firing, and where you're looking is where you're going to, end up shooting. I'm sitting here doing all this stuff trying to figure, and it doesn't work for me. So.
Okay, bro.
Well, that was the issue that you had, George, wasn't it? With because you're where you look is the aim. That's how you aim, and so you would think it would be easy, right? You would think like, okay, you look there and you shoot, but it isn't. It's a lot harder than it seems. It really is.
And then again, it kind of gave me like kind of how I feel about Web Slingers. It's like it was an okay ride. I don't think that should be the centerpiece of the land. You know, I'm glad that they're getting the Donkey Kong coaster.
Yeah.
I think that'll really set off that land um, for what it needs to be. Because again, it's just like with web slingers. It's like I'm shooting these webs, but I don't know where it's going. Like what am I actually hitting? And it's like there's just so much going on in Mario Kart. It's like you're looking at the AI, you're looking at the set pieces, and then as you turn your head, you're shooting. God knows what you're aiming for. You don't even know what. It's just like a lot going on, and I think sometimes less is better.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we did a video the other day, George, about the 1 year anniversary of Super Nintendo World, right? And we talked about that. And I actually like Mario Kart a lot more than George does. Like, it's funny. I actually think Web Slingers is way worse, way worse. But
Oh God,
but
yeah, yeah. Web Slingers is like 3 steps below Mario Kart, at least, if not more.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. But I think that they do share one commonality, which is like kind of like that sloppy. I feel like the gameplay is kind of sloppy for both, but in different ways, right? Like for Web
Right.
Slingers, it's like I don't know whose web is who. I'm just doing this. You know what I'm saying? And if I hit something, I hit something. It's like that's all I'm doing. And then with Mario Kart, it's like you have the various other players going through walls and stuff. So it's kind of sloppy in that way. But hopefully in time, though, like Universal sort of cleans that up, because like the AR, you can probably clean that up with new goggles, new technology, right, and kind of improve upon it. I hope they do that. I think if you can tighten that up a little bit and get it, like you were saying, George, on the video, where we can tighten that up and make it a little more, where it's not like you have these vehicles like flying above the track and all this weirdness. I think it could be pretty amazing.
Yeah, if they can kind of make it cohesive to the actual set pieces, that would be that would be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And they might look. We got this new thing with Apple now. This is Apple Vision. Obviously, they're not going to use those, or like thousands of dollars, whatever. But like the technology is there now, right? They've kind of the genie's out of the lamp now, so to speak.
Right.
And so hopefully that kind of spills over into this AR stuff. And you never know. Maybe they will adopt some better tech and it'll get better. Go ahead, George. I know you got a joke.
Yes, I did. I guarantee you, if they use those Apple goggles, those bins at the end of the attraction where they say throw them in there, I guarantee you there would be not one damn pair in that bin.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm keeping these. Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, it's wild. It's wild. Now, so before I move on to our next topic, casual. So overall, very positive experience. So from what I take, it's like pretty much like maybe the Minions were a little disappointing, and like maybe Simpsons Land. That's pretty much about it. Everything else was pretty good.
Yeah, pretty much really good. I do want to bring up Toadstool Cafe.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely spectacular little restaurant. Little pricey, little tough to get into, a little bit of a wait to deal with, but the experience for our group was just phenomenal. We had an absolute blast in there. The food was really, really good. I thought the food was excellent. The one thing, it's like, don't call them garlic knots. They're not knots. They're just little rolls. So that was one annoyance. It was like, okay, this isn't a garlic knot. You made a roll that kind of poofs up at the top. That's it. But yeah, like I said, that was a fun little spot, and very well themed.
Yes.
For the land, it was one of those you really felt like somebody who cared, put their heart into this one, and really wanted to give something for the fans, and an experience for everybody. Because, like I said, I'm not a gigantic Nintendo fan or anything, but I was having fun watching the screens and, enjoying the food and looking, how they create the little shapes and things like that with the food and things like that. So I would give that one very high marks.
The food in Nintendo has been creatively amazing. Like, I think that they've hit now it's expensive. We talked about that in the video too, right, George? Yeah. It's really pricey, but like the food, the presentation, and what they do with it is incredible. Like, I think I've been to Toad, I think maybe twice, and both times I loved it. I mean, it was really, really good. Now, George, when you went, did you go into Toad?
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go into Toads, due to the fact we actually ended up leaving the land abruptly. because this was one downside to Mario Kart that I actually forgot to mention when we did the 1 year anniversary. The when you're leaving Mario Kart through the exit, they have very steep, narrow steps.
Okay.
And when you're coming down, and I ended up twisting my ankle at the very bottom of the steps. So unfortunately, we ended up leaving the land because it was very crowded. It was like so overpacked, and it was like, okay. And I don't get claustrophobic, but I was having an OG moment where it was okay, I got to get out of here. Like this is like my ankle's throbbing. It's like there's people everywhere. So unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to experience Toadstool. But definitely the next time I go back, I definitely want to check that out so I could give my full on opinion on it. But I want to ask you, Casual, because this is something that Slimer and I started doing when I met up with him down at Walt Disney World, is we rate our theme park day. So not necessarily the theme park itself, but just the day of how you experienced the theme park that you're at. So like from a 1 to a 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, what would you... Or no, I'm sorry, not numbers. No, we grade them. We letter grade them. So with your letter grade, what grade level do you give your day at Universal Hollywood?
Oh man, it's this is where it's tough for me because I was with a group, and I wasn't able to theme park commando it. Had I been on my own or like me and Casual Junior, we'd have smoked that park. We'd have gone around it probably twice. We'd have been able to check, do everything more than once.
Right. And that's the beauty part. And that's the beauty part with you grading the day. So you're not necessarily grading the park. So so like the next time you could have a higher grade depending on.
Yeah. I would say this one, it got a solid B to B plus, even with the fact that I missed, a few of the big attractions. Waterworld was down. It was being refurbished. Miss Secret Life of Pets, Miss Transformers, Miss Simpsons. So it's like there's still a lot that I could go back and still, have a chance to experience. And so with all, I didn't get to eat at the Three Broomsticks. I didn't get to explore all of Harry Potter World. So there's a lot left. That's why I would give it a B to B plus, even with the fact that I missed out on a lot. What I did see was fantastic.
Awesome.
Nice.
And I was kind of the same way, right, George, with Walt Disney World. I mean, I know it's a different animal. So Disney World's like massive and stuff, but like because I had that head injury and stuff, and I'm already crazy, I don't want to make it worse. No, I didn't go on a lot of stuff. I'm saying a lot of the faster, like Tower of Terror things. I didn't want to, get into that with the head injury.
Honestly, everything that we've done, I'm grateful for because. When you hit the floor, I thought vacation was over. I thought it was it. I thought it was done.
I thought life was over, dude. I was like, what?
You were panicking. You were like,
like, what is going on? I literally Casual. I literally asked me, am I going to die? I really thought I was going to die. I felt so weird I when I must have had a concussion. I just felt super weird. But,
I think it was honestly like just like the impact, like everything happened at once,
right?
And you're just like, what the hell just happened? And it's like you're seeing all these people like around me, and it's like, it's like why are these women with gloves like touching me? It's like I'm not George, It's like
I'm not George. I don't get this kind of like this is come on, it's unusual here. Exactly. So let's dip in now to Casual because you've been doing this like the vlogging thing now for a while, and you do a great job. You're really great job.
Thank you.
How long has it been since you started Theme Park Casual?
Theme Park Casual. Well, I created Theme Park Casual in 2020.
Okay.
So I've had that moniker since then, and that was with the idea that I think I'm going to do this theme park vlogging kind of thing. I'm going to do it, and it just took a little while before I actually was able to do it. Again, I have to thank you guys for having me on. That was my first real foray into it, and the rest is history, obviously. But I started had my first video released in May of 2022. So
Okay.
I've been doing this almost 2 years now. And then my first live stream at the parks was in August that year.
And you've been doing almost 2 years, and you've really built up like your community and stuff. Like we always dip into your live shows and stuff. You got a great community. You get a lot of action. I mean, you have, sometimes I go in there and I'll see 90 to 100 people watching at once and stuff. I mean,
yeah, there's
really
occasions where we've had a big group like that. I'm usually in the 30 to 40 range. Is usually my average, which is cool. The chat sometimes, even with just the few people that I have in there, it gets moving to where I'm like, I can't even pay attention, and people are starting to mention things, and I'm like, what are they even talking about? I'm not sure what they're talking about anymore, because they're having their conversations amongst themselves, and which is fantastic. I love seeing the chat, having fun like that. And it's really been amazing. I always tell everybody in my chat, I said, I am so blessed to have you guys with me, because it seems that everywhere I go, I always end up surrounded by amazing people. And this has been no different with the live streams. The chats, and even the other live streamers that I've been able to, get to know, they're all just amazing people, and it's been so much fun.
Now, has it impacted like your view, like, because now that you're live streaming and doing Theme Park Casual on YouTube and what have you, you go a lot, right? Has that impacted your park going, like, in terms of like, now that you're going more, do you find yourself getting like more like tired of the parks, or does it amplify your love for the parks?
Well, here's the thing. I've always been a theme park junkie. Back in '92, when I bought my first Disney annual pass, it was like, nobody else had passes. I could go on a Tuesday and you sit down in the hub to have some popcorn, and you could, spin around 360, and, you'd be lucky to see 30 people.
Right.
Yeah. And you can't get that nowadays, obviously, but I used to go 30, 40, 50 times a year back then.
Wow.
So it's like I said, I'm just a theme park junkie. It's in my blood. It's what I love. Yeah. So I think what it's done is it's given me a whole new outlet to basically make friends, if you will. And I always say it to the people in the chat, I consider them my friends. Yeah. It's like a lot of them, even though I don't know their name, I just see a screen name, I've never met them, you get to learn their personalities a little bit. And so, I always tell people, you know what? I don't care if you hang out for a long time, but I just love to see your screen name pop up and you just say hi. That makes my day. I love, because I've gotten to know so many of you, from hanging out in my chat or even other people's chats, just seeing somebody pop in like that, even for just a minute, to say, hey, I can't hang out, but I just want to say hi. I just love seeing the screen names, go by and know that, hey, my friend stopped in to say hi. That's how I feel.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I've been doing it for a long time now too, and stuff. And like, you hit the nail on the head with that, because it's like, that was one thing actually I wasn't expecting going into the YouTube at all. Like, I wasn't expecting that, and the community you make is just, it's kind of life-changing, it really is. Like, you make friends, you make, family along the way, and I met you guys through this whole little adventure, and it's wild. It's absolutely wild. And George, you kind of, now you didn't start your own channel, George, but you did actually. You had Disney Family Man for a while.
Yeah.
But you've been kind of more involved with the OG55 thing. But like, has it changed your perception at all? Like, in terms of like the parks and things like that, or?
I think for me, since becoming an annual pass holder for actually both coasts, Walt Disney World and Disneyland, I
la-di-da. Look at this.
I flex on these guys right here.
I find myself going a lot more.
I'm glad I'm not
Jordan.
the only one that was thinking that. Because I was thinking,
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah, I find myself going a lot more, more so because at Disneyland, and which normally I usually go to Walt Disney World a little more, because since I live over on the East Coast, it's more of a hop, skip, and a jump, where Disneyland is a little bit more of a travel commute. But I find myself going to Disneyland more because a lot of the people that I connected with through the Disney community is on the West Coast, such
Right.
as you guys. So it's like, so since I get to spend a lot of time with you guys, or whether it's just, excuse me, a short amount of time, really, sometimes it's not the, the quantity, it's the quality, even if it's just one night for a few hours, or multiple days, just the fact that I get to hang out with the people that I connect with on a daily basis, to share, the common factors of the love of Disney, the love of theme parks, the love of entertainment value, so it's, yeah, I am truly blessed for, the community that I incorporated myself in. I'm blessed that OG has given me a spot on Orange Grove 55, and to continue, our projects, our content, meeting up with Theme Park Casual, and Berry Place 28, and our mutual
Ca-
friend Mindy.
And Casual Junior, who I met for the first time a few weeks
Absolutely.
ago.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. To his other dad, so.
There you go.
That yeah, so it's just been a great time, and can't wait to continue continue on.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's crazy to me too when I think about it too, how this thing has kind of like how all these years, right? Walt Disney created this thing, in 1955. We're in 2024, and it's continuous. It still continues to impact lives like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to me. It's crazy to me, the impact this man has had on not just the world, but like individual lives. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Now, Casual, you're also a big Knott's guy. You want to elaborate on that a little bit? Because I'm sure we have people in my audience where it's like, they're into Knott's as well, theme park people. How did that whole thing start? Where did that kind of passion? Because you're really passionate about Knott's. It's contagious. Where did that whole thing begin?
Well, I used to go to Knott's when I was little. I still remember, going to Camp Snoopy the first year it opened. I remember going on Knott's Berry Tales, Kingdom of the Dinosaurs, Soapbox Racers, the Sky Jump, the parachutes. I remember all of that from when I was little. And then, I became a big Disney fan, and that was, where my real passion was. But then in 2012, due to financial obligations, we had to let our passes go, because it was like, okay, well, we're kind of, our family, is kind of needing to get a new vehicle. We wanted to get a nice brand new van. So we said something's got to give. And so we said, you know what? Casual Junior is still kind of young. He's enjoying Legoland, which he's got the ambassador pass, which means he is a Legoland pass holder for life and gets into any Legoland park in the world.
Oh, that's cool.
So we
that's
got
really
him that.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. He's like in that very elite little group. So we said, you know what? We're going to let the Disney passes go for now, and we'll just do Legoland and SeaWorld at the time. That's what we had. And we started, checking out other places. It was like, well, let's go see what other things we have around, in Southern California. And then I think it was 2015, me and my brother went to Knott's during Boysenberry Festival. And we each got a lanyard, and we just had so much fun going through, trying the food, laughing and hanging out at Knott's Berry Farm. And after that, it was our yearly trip had to be during Boysenberry Festival, and we literally I mean, we were joking around about, that we would have the little countdown, like 274 days till Boysenberry Festival, and I'd, take a screenshot and send it to them, and we'd be all excited, like when we were kids, and it was fantastic. And it was like one of those things where, me and my brother, we weren't able to hang out too much, both busy lives and, not living extremely close to each other. Was, just, things just get busy, and you just start realizing that, what, hey, I haven't seen my brother in like 7 months.
Oh man.
Boysenberry Festival was that moment where we would say, what, hey, every year we're going to make a trip out to Boysenberry Festival. And that was our moment, to just be able to hang out. And it was just me and my little brother. And
That's awesome.
It just kind of grew out of that, you know what, I love this park. There's so many memories. There's so much, here to explore and to see. It's one of those places where you can just, I always tell people, you can't build another Knott's Berry Farm because of how Knott's Berry Farm came about. It didn't set out to be a theme park. It happened to become a theme park. And so there's this weird history of, the ghost town, and then the additions that happened throughout the years that you just can't duplicate that anywhere. And to me, Knott's is one of those places where you have to kind of sit in it and really dig in and experience it, on your own. It's not going to come and necessarily wow you with every, aspect. But if you kind of peel back some of the layers, you start realizing, wow, this is a really deep history in this park, and I love doing that. That's part of what I love about theme parks, is when you can sit and just the area when you're in it has its own story to tell, and Disneyland is wonderful with that. They've got so many spots where you could just sit for a minute and just look around, and you can feel that the area is telling you a story,
Yeah. 100%.
And-
Yeah, I can go to Disneyland and not write a single thing, and I'm totally satisfied.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's where Knott's is for me. It's one of those places where I can just enjoy, like I said, just sitting and watching the park do its thing.
What about you, George? You've been to Knott's now twice, I believe.
Twice, yes.
And I remember talking to you on the phone. You were pretty impressed when you went.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed Knott's. It has this theme park quality to it, but then it also has like this tradition all-American amusement park that just kind of like meshes well in, and it takes me back to my childhood, because we have like one of those kind of amusement parks out here in Pittsburgh called Kennywood, and when I haven't been there in years, believe it or not. I spent all my time in Disney. But when I went to Knott's for the very first time, it definitely gave me like those Kennywood vibes. Like it took me back into my childhood, where it's like I love like that. They have like the tradition, like amusement park food. They have like the barbecue type thing, but yet they have like the themed areas, like the old Western ghost town sort of, and then the Camp Snoopy type of area.
Yeah. That's where you'll find me, Mr. Chicken Shit over here in Camp Snoopy.
But is this an all-around feel-good park? It's just a feel-good park. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, George. Like it's very like this like comfort food Americana kind of vibe,
Yeah, and I will say Knott's. Yeah, I was going to say, I think Boysenberry Festival is probably the best food festival out here on the West Coast.
Wow.
There's always, the hit and misses during the festival, but for my money, I think that one just is a pitch perfect food festival, because it's got that niche of boysenberry, and they just can run with it, and they're really good at expanding the menu every year. And I don't think any of the other parks can quite get that sort of a perfect little so on brand for a food festival. Everything else, it feels like, we're doing a food festival and it's themed to this. Whereas Knott's, it's like nobody else can touch the Boysenberry Festival. It's their thing, and they.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, Casual. I'll actually take it one step further. I actually think, out of the 3 theme parks in California that I've been to thus far, Disneyland, the Disneyland Resort, Universal Hollywood, and Knott's Berry Farm, I think just the food in general, I don't think I have eaten so much in one day in any theme park than what I did at Knott's Berry Farm. The offerings they give you, and for like the price value,
dude,
it's like
the dining plan. Was it like Casual, like $40 for the day or something like that?
I don't even think it's 40. I think it was like $35-$36.
I mean, when I went with this guy back in October,
you can eat
we
every
ate the whole
90
day.
minutes.
Yeah.
Every
And I
90
just
minutes.
got it just to get it. It's like, I might use it. If I don't, it's, 30, 40 some dollars, it's like, it's like, I'm not going to eat that. I literally ate every hour and a half, like right on the dot. I'm like, this isn't usually not, I mean, I eat when I'm on vacation, but I mean, I don't think I've ever eaten like that unless I'm on a cruise ship.
Yeah, right. I was about to say, it's like cruise ship levels when you get that. And here's the thing, just because of the way the economy and, inflation and everything, they've had to scale things back. It used to be even more spectacular. I mean, they've had to, they've had to get rid of the flank steak sandwich, and, the tri-tip, has shifted to brisket. So it's like, it's still a tremendous value, and Knott's does a fantastic job with their food. But like I said, it's just the economy doing its thing to them, to where they had to scale things back a little bit. Because it was even better. That's the crazy thing.
It's crazy. The food was really it's the star of the show. It really is. I mean, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. I wanted to ask you, Casual, when is Boysenberry Fest every year? Like,
Boysenberry Festival should be starting soon. It's always during spring break. So it's like surrounds the weeks of spring break. And they've actually gotten very smart in that they extend it, they do, I think, like 2 to 3 weeks before spring break, then the 2 weeks, where it's, predominantly spring break for everybody. And then right after that, they'll do, I think, usually Friday, Saturday, and Sundays for the next 2 to 3 weekends after that to continue it going.
Interesting.
And here's the thing, the food is one thing at Knott's, but what they've done in the last, I'd say, 3 years, the entertainment has just been ratcheted up tremendously. They have, I mean, if you want to go and have great food, hang out with your friends at a theme park, where, hey, we can maybe get on a coaster or something, but you're really there to just, have a good time and hang out with your friends, Knott's is the place. Because at each of the food festivals, they've got spectacular entertainment happening. And Summer Nights last year was off the charts with how many different bands and genres and just stages of music happening every single night. And I was actually having some very amazing live streams when they were doing the Summer Nights. I had people coming in, and I had, a couple of people that were, sound designers, and saying, oh, they've really got the, the bass is really locked in right there. The drummers, all this stuff. And then I had musicians talking about stuff. It was just, we were having a blast with it. But you could go from rock and roll to 90s to swing music to cumbia to whatever. It was like, and there was no way for you to see every single act in a given night. And they would change the acts. Like basically if you went on Monday, you were going to get a completely different lineup of bands on Friday. It was amazing what they were doing. And then the holidays, forget it. With Scary Farm, the best Halloween offering anywhere. And then Christmas, they've got the Snoopy on Ice and the Home for the Holiday show. You add Crazy Kirk and the Hillbillies into this. It's insane what Knott's is doing with entertainment. And they scaled it back last year. I think it was Boysenberry Festival where they really scaled back the entertainment. The fans let them hear it, and they made the change, and they haven't looked back since. They've made sure that their entertainment is pushing the limits again.
That's wild. And it's true. I actually appreciate they're kind of ballsy too when it comes to the boysenberry thing, because they put the boysenberry thing on stuff that you wouldn't think they would. Like, don't they have
Right.
boysenberry beer, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, they've got boysenberry beer, boysenberry wine. They make all sorts of boysenberry mixed drinks. They've had boysenberry pizzas, and the boysenberry meatballs are a staple. You know, you name it, they'll boysenberry it, and that's
what I'm saying.
That's what's so fun about it. It's like they keep doing it, and it's like you're always wondering, okay, what are we going to get this year, and which one's going to be the hit, and which ones are going to be that one they probably shouldn't have boysenberried that one, you know. So there's always those fun moments where it's like, oh, they tried, but you know,
hey, you know. but like George, when you went, did you go during the Boysenberry Fest, or was it during?
I didn't go to the Boysenberry Festival. It is something I am interested in. I have, I do a little bit of research on Knott's Berry Farm, so I have heard about it. You know, it is something I'm interested in. But I did go during the summer nights. And Casual's right. Like, there was like so much entertainment offerings going on, so many bands, so many locations. It's like you didn't know which way to turn. You know, it was like, and yeah, you couldn't see all the acts. So it's just like basically, it just felt like one big like block party bash. Like when they could shut down a street, like a neighborhood, and it's just like all the neighbors come out and everyone just kind of like picnics and everything. Like, that's the vibe it gives you.
Like that movie Project X. No, just kidding. Do you ever see that, George? Do you ever see that movie Project X?
I haven't. No.
Did you ever see it, Casual?
No.
That's a movie, man. That's a movie, I tell you. Yeah, it's actually a true story. It's actually a kid. He invites like everyone in his school to his house for a party, and they end up burning like literally the neighborhood down. It's absolutely crazy. It's based on a true story. It's absolutely crazy. Definitely check it out. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. But gentlemen, it's always a pleasure having you guys on Talking Shop. Casual, thank you so much for coming on, brother. And if you can remind everybody where they can find you on social media, where they can find you on YouTube, all that good stuff, so they can subscribe to you.
No, thanks again for having me. This was, always fun hanging out with you guys, and can't wait to be able to hang out IRL at the park sometime. But you can find me on YouTube, live streaming at Disney, Knott's, and other places every now and then. It's Theme Park Casual. You can find me on X and Instagram by that same name, Theme Park Casual.
There it is. And right over here, we got the George the Italiano, host of our Walt Disney World show, Citrus Corner. George, if you could remind everybody at home know where they could find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There you go. And now George is a K-pop expert. We actually just recorded a video. We're asking to a music video. He's an expert now. You can add that to the resume, George.
I've been converted.
There you go. You're all set, brother. You're all set. But thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG55. Comment down below with all your thoughts on Knott's, Universal, Disney, all that good stuff. Boysenberry Festival, if you've been to it over at Knott's, we would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of OG55. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye, everybody.
세상이 누구에게나 공평하게 추악해. 개틀 것 같았어.